Title chances. All-star Ben Simmons has been diagnosed with a dislocation in his left kneecap. He's out indefinitely. The Sixers are a half game behind the Pacers for the 5th seed in the East. They're 35-22 with Simmons, 6-5 without him. Here's head coach Brett Brown on the injury.
Is there an update on Ben's situation?
No, there isn't. And our club sort of, when information becomes available, they'll share it with the public, but as it sits, there isn't. Again, we don't have him for tonight, and you just, you're numb to it. You just move. And I do genuinely believe that this can galvanize our group and bring us in a sort of inverted way together, knowing that Ben is not going to be with us tonight, and we'll learn, as I say, going forward.
ESPN NBA insider Adrian Woj joins us from inside the bubble in Orlando. Adrian, Ben Simmons is out indefinitely. What more can you tell us about what will determine how much time he misses?
Well, ultimately, if there's a decision made that he has to get a scope on that left knee, he'll be lost for the rest of the season. But that's still a process that's ongoing with the Sixers, with Ben Simmons and his representative, and trying to determine the best course of action. I'm told there'll be some more conversation tonight on Friday, and potentially by Saturday, they may know the direction they're going to go. But certainly the Sixers, their season's in the balance here. Ben Simmons is an all player, and they'd love to be able to find a way to get him back this season. But right now, it is a difficult circumstance to think that he'll be back anytime soon.
Yeah, tough blow to their thoughts of trying to fight for that 5th spot. They're in 6th right now. The Sixers are in the East. Meanwhile, the Pelicans will rest Zion Williamson tonight as they play back-to-back nights. He hasn't played more than 25 minutes in any of New Orleans' first 4 games in the bubble. What do you think the Pelicans' objective is right now with respect to Zion Williamson?
To keep him healthy and to keep him in a place where he does not go into this offseason with any injuries. And, New Orleans has struggled in Orlando. They're not in prime position right now to get into that play-in. And if they continue to fall out of contention here, I think you're going to see Zion Williamson's minutes continue to be limited.
All right, Adrian Woj from inside the bubble in Orlando. Adrian, thank you.
Sports Center on the road is presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Time to go around the NFL, Ryan Smith, starting with Titans linebacker Vic Beasley, who reported today after missing 10 days of camp at $50,000 a day. That's a $500,000 fine. He now needs 3 negative COVID-19 tests over a 4-day period. He could be on the field when the Titans start practice next week. Beasley was the Titans' top free agent signing in March with a 1-year deal for $9.5 million. Baltimore Ravens were hoping for a matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Tennessee Titans had different plans and beat Baltimore, so we did not get the Lamar Jackson-Patrick Mahomes matchup. But we did get a Ravens team that is coming into this season with a little bit of extra fire.
It's history, so you move on, you move forward. But it informs us. Shared experiences becomes part of your culture, and part of who we grow in. What we grow into going forward. So we take it with us, and it definitely motivates us, and we learn from it. You win or you learn, and we learned a lot from that game.
Let's see what they do with that this year, Jay. And meanwhile, in Dallas, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys' first practice in shells won't be until next Friday, August 14th, according to the new head coach, Mike McCarthy. So if you do the math on that, that's less than 1 month before the season starts. So today, McCarthy weighed in on his impressions of his starting quarterback.
Well, with us being around each other for the first time, I really enjoyed his personality. Very upbeat, very driven. So I would say he's kind of picked up where he's left off based off what I've been told about him as far as how he operates. But very detailed in his preparation. He's a lot of fun to be around. And really the whole group, the quarterback group, and with the addition of Andy Dalton, I really like the quarterback room. It feels very normal, as far as we go through the installations. I think the biggest adjustment for Dak is the language, which has been an adjustment for all of us. But he's looked very good in the throwing segments of the strength and conditioning phase that we're in right now, and I'm very pleased where he is, and very impressed.
All right, so a good start, good impression for the new head coach. Let's bring in NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum. He's here live now on SportsCenter. Mike, the Cowboys can't offer Dak a long-term contract until next year since they couldn't get a deal done by June 15th. So, Mike, when does the Cowboys front office start thinking about another offer for Dak?
Ryan, they're doing that right now because typically the front office is about 6 months ahead in terms of what we're seeing on the field. So they're planning for next February. They're planning for next March. They're looking at all their free agents. And obviously, Dak Prescott goes to the top of that list in terms of players that they need to take care of.
So what contract negotiations that are going on now could impact Dak's contract?
You know, Ryan, there's one more out there, and that's Deshaun Watson of the Houston Texans. When we look at the quarterback market, obviously Patrick Mahomes just signed that $450 million monster extension with Kansas City. Russell Wilson has gotten done. Carson Wentz has gotten done. So the only other X factor right now is going to be Deshaun Watson's extension, which is going to be to me, it's going to be on the high end of where that market is, coming in behind Mahomes, but it's going to be north of $35 million. So for Dallas to wait this long, Ryan, already missed that deadline, it's just going to cost them more and more money. And when Watson gets done, it's just going to raise the bar that much higher.
Could bode very well for Dak Prescott, especially if he has a great season. His franchise tag this season's going to be $31.4 million. Mike, thank you so much.
Ryan, let's update the NBA down at the bubble in Orlando now. The Kings and the Nets, and Karis LeVert is having himself a game. And one on the drive. Just over 5 left in the quarter. Nets up 46-38. Bogdan Bogdanovic gets free for 3. Drains it. 15 for him in the first half. Under 2 left now. LeVert still doing work. Yeah. Open 3 of his own. Nets 74, Kings 62. LeVert with 19. We'll keep you updated. Top of the hour for you. A countdown to tip-off on ESPN2. WNBA action. Emma Mieseman of the Mystics warming up. She was the WNBA Finals MVP last season. Looking forward to seeing her play tonight. I think the Liberty, rather, at the top of the hour. Years from now, we'll look back on this NBA season with a different appreciation, dealing with the pandemic and social justice protests, as well as playing basketball. Our look back at this WNBA season will be no different. Los Angeles Sparks star Nneka Ogwumike talks about playing an unorthodox season while leading social justice campaigns as president of the Women's National Basketball Players Association in this first installment of the WNBA Diary.
You know, the unity that we always display in the WNBA, it's just who we are. Being a part of such an unorthodox and unique season, it feels historical in a lot of ways, both in the history of the WNBA so far, but then also, you know, looking back in the future when people think about not just what we went through, but also how the WNBA has changed leading up to this season and after this season. I feel as though it's something that's going to be incredibly meaningful for the future of the league.
Tension between players and Senator Kelly Loeffler, the Georgia Republican and a co-owner of the Atlanta Dream, is continuing to grow. Yesterday, players started wearing Vote Warnock T-shirts, showing their support for one of the Democrats hoping to defeat Loeffler in November. Last month, Loeffler wrote a letter to the WNBA commissioner objecting to the league's support of the Black Lives Matter movement.
Rocking these Vote Warnock shirts, I think it's a testament to just how organized, how collaborative, how much we have each other's backs in the WNBA, and how we've always been in the moment for such movements.
And I think this is just a great way to connect those dots between social justice and getting out and voting.
We felt as though that it was the most meaningful and impactful response to what we're experiencing specifically in Atlanta. But what I love about it too is that being behind the scenes, I've been a part of the groups that have had these discussions, and I'm so grateful to have an executive committee that really puts their heads together to represent all the players and also figure out how we can represent ourselves and create lasting impact in our communities outside of the basketball court. We're using this season to amplify our voices, and so this moment allowed us an opportunity to hop on the phone with Reverend Warnock, to hop on the phone and have Zoom calls with the Honorable Stacey Abrams, and of course, our forever First Lady, Miss Michelle Obama. We've been able to have these conversations around how we can truly impact our communities and how athletes can use their platforms.